Okay, this is how you became self-standing.
That's how I got into the freelancing. About going to Indian stores to buy some masalas or anything was so costly. Like chai masala, I bought once only for, and Indian community was also not that big back then. So it used to feel like whenever you saw any Indian on street, it used to give like immense joy. Oh, there's an Indian, and people used to come and talk. Nowadays, you see like every nook and corner you see Indians, and people don't even smile at you. I feel bad. Hanging out with them was nice. So by then I had some financial stability. So I used to go to pub with them or to salsa evening somewhere, or just meet for coffee.
Of 2008.
No, it was so bad that almost all of our friends had to go back to India.
So, Ketki, thank you very much for coming to my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Let me start this podcast with the initial question. What actually brought you to Germany for the first time, and where did you come?
Actually, it started when I was around 3 years old. So I had few family members who came to Germany in 80s. Like my uncle, my paternal uncle, he came in 80s. He did his diploma back then in Berlin, and he used to get like games like as gifts whenever he visited us back in India. And we had this Tangram or Ravensburger puzzle. Everything was in German. So I used to I couldn't really play with those games because the instructions were in German. So I had to always wait for them to explain me. And that's where it started. So back then I decided by the time I finish my school, I'm going to learn German. The first thing I'm going to do. And that's how it started. So that's where it kind of triggered. And then I saw my uncle living in Germany used to write letters because internet wasn't there, and he used to get German guests whenever he came to India. So they used to stay with us. We used to host them for lunch or dinner. And so that's how I came in contact with Germans. We also had few German girls who learned Marathi. So they stayed with us.
Oh.
It was very interesting. It was kind of a cultural exchange program. So that's somehow, kind of made me curious about the German culture, language itself. And then I started. I think after 10th, we have a long break. So during that time, I started doing some language courses at Pune University. And then later, while I was doing my, 11th and 12th, I was doing parallelly German courses at Max Muller Bhavan, that's Goethe Institute in Pune. Yeah, and eventually, I came here.
So why not in India? So why didn't you continue your studies, even higher studies, and
So we had this, lot of people who were flying to Germany, and Pune was like in 1980s, 90s, a place where people from all across India used to come to learn German. So there was this craze. And I am a kind of a creative person and I love to explore different languages. So I had this kind of a quality in me which kind of pushed me towards it. And once you get into it, you get into the flow. So when I started doing my courses at MMB, that's what we call Max Muller Bhavan in Pune.
This was in which year?
Oh, this was in, let me recall, I think 2004.
Around. Okay.
Around 2003, 2004, around that time, if I'm not mistaken, yes. And and then we used to have those small clippings, ads posted, au pair gesucht. So au pair is a term, French term.
Okay.
Basically, it's kind of a cultural exchange program. So you live with a German family, you take care of their kids, you are a part of family, and then they sponsor you a German language course.
In Germany?
In Germany. So they sponsor everything, right from your ticket till you fly back to India. Everything is. You are a part of family and they take care of you. They pay also some kind of a pocket money, depends, around 170, 190 euros per month. They pay your insurance, etc., everything. So that concept was new in India. But we had few posts, on those clipboards in MMB, and I saw that, and I came here as a tourist in 2007, and I didn't complete my bachelor's also back then. I was doing my second year, and I came here as a tourist,
Okay.
and found a nice family in Ludwigshafen, Frankenthal area, and so basically I started working as au pair Mädchen with them, and that's how it started. Like, nothing was kind of planned. I never had that thing that, oh, I want to go to Germany or I want to do this, but it just started by learning German.
So by the time you finish your plus two,
Yes.
yeah.
By the time I finished my plus two, yeah, kind of, and I completed my first year and then I came here. So my second year of BCom and third year, I did everything externally, like correspondence. So I lived here in Germany. I did German language courses. I improved my German language skills. At the same time, I was learning the bachelor, portion which we had, and I used to go just there for exams
In India.
in India,
Ah, okay.
write my final exam and come back. That's how I did my BCom.
Okay.
So the whole focus of my education was like German language, and BCom was just like,
BCom is Bachelor of Commerce, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So I did my BCom bachelor's basically to have a backup,
Okay.
kind of a thing. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So it was like when I came, I was just like barely 19 or so, and in order to work as au pair Mädchen, you have some age limitations. So I think you can only come to Germany or anywhere in Europe actually as au pair Mädchen if you are below 24 age.
Below 24.
Yes.
But what is the minimum age? Or
It starts with 18.
okay.
Yes, because you have to be adult in order to take care of kids, right? So
Got it.
because family actually, the parents, basically you pick up kids from kindergarten, you play with them, you have meals with them. It's just that you're there as a backup when parents work. That's the thought behind this whole concept. So that was the best decision I would say I made.
It's a new place. Of course, you already came here as a tourist and checked
Yes,
that.
because my cousin, I must say, I mean, I thank him a lot for this. He was always there. He was doing his masters. He had his own struggle going on, but it was kind of nice. I had some moral support. So whenever I felt like, homesick, then I used to go. It wasn't that far from that family. I purposefully chose a family which was not far from his place. It was just like 1 hour max train journey. So I used to, over the weekend, I used to see my cousin.
No, he was there at the time.
Yes, he was there.
came
He
here.
was studying in Ludwigshafen.
Okay.
And he had almost completed his master's when I came. And I was living in outskirts of Ludwigshafen, like near Worms. So it was nice because when you live in a German family, you get to know their rituals, their traditions. You get to see the culture so closely. The basic things like what food they eat, what they don't like, how direct they
What you
are.
didn't like at the beginning in their family?
The cold food in the evening.
Okay.
Especially during the winter times, they used to have salad and bread and cheese spreads, etc., which I didn't like. Of course, I mean, first time when I cooked Indian food, my parents, they came home and they were kind of opening all the windows because for them it was too much of smell of our food. So they didn't complain, but you had that picture that they didn't like it. So I just stopped cooking anything like Indian over there.
Yeah.
But then they used to take me to the Indian restaurants.
So
quite
were there a
often.
younger family or old people?
No, it was like young family around like 30, 40s, in their 30s, I think end 30s, late 30s. And they had one son. He's now 18 plus. It's so nice to see him,
No, you're still in contact with
Yes,
them.
I'm still in touch with them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was a nice thing because they welcomed me and they accepted me as a part of their family.
Yeah. So what you liked the most in their family?
I liked the most the way things were organized, like planned thoroughly. because my host father, he was on a very good position. He used to make sure that he gave time to us.
So what do you call host father?
No, I used to call him with his name, of course,
Okay.
but the host father, actually, host parents, right?
Okay.
Those who hosted me. And host mother was in marketing sales area, so she also had to travel a lot. So they used to balance it out. They never left me alone with the kid. There was always some other parent present. And what I like the most is they never got this, they left always what they had outside doors. Like when the father entered, he never showed that he was on that position. He was father and he played that role in the family. We don't get to see that in India sometimes, I feel. People do show their position and kind of their power everywhere. And
At home.
exactly. I mean, when I started, I didn't know that he was in such a great position until I came across when I was talking to my father. He Googled it, my father, and not the host father, my real father, and he told me that, do you know that he's on this position? I was like, no, I was just sitting half an hour ago with him playing a video game, playing football and hitting him with pillows. And then suddenly I had that feeling, oh my God, this person is so genuine and down to earth, both of them. But once they invited us to event, and then I got the actual image of him in workplace. So that's the best thing I find, that people are down to earth when they are at home.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So what were your duties there?
I won't term it as duties. It was basically what you usually do at your own home, like go for shopping, grocery shopping, with one of the family members. Sometimes, if there is any emergency, then they used to ask me, could you just go and get milk, like that. Take their son to kindergarten, get him ready in the morning, take him to kindergarten, pick him up, maybe prepare a slice of bread, sit with him in the afternoon, sit with him, have a cup of coffee with him, like he would have a milk and I would have coffee. Maybe sometimes take him to some specific doctor appointments if they weren't there. Yeah, and there were like key events, let's say Latte Fest. So you have to go to kindergarten to prepare some lanterns, etc. So I used to accompany them.
Along with taking care of your own
Like it
education.
depends. Sometimes the host parents were there, sometimes they weren't there. So initially the first few weeks they used to be there so that, I kind of get used to it. But once I got adjusted, then I took over those things.
Got it.
Yeah, and then I
How
had
long?
my own bedroom, everything, like,
Okay.
so it wasn't like that I had a compromised life. I had a complete own floor with my own bathroom, bedroom. It was very nice. Yeah, it was in their own house.
Okay.
Yeah.
You felt very comfortable.
Yes.
So how many years this could go?
You can stay with one family for a year and then you can switch to different families, but then you need a different visa. So you have to go back and apply again for a visa if you wish to come. Back then we had this.
Is it must to
Yes.
change?
No, not must, but you cannot continue with the same family for more than, like, you cannot stay with the same family for a long period.
Okay.
The purpose of the stay is to learn German and to kind of get easily integrated in the German society. So if you stay, back then they used to consider that 1 year is good enough for you to learn everything. So you're done with it, you leave the country. That's what the concept was. So I switched the family. So after 6 months, I had to look for another family. But that was also nice. Both of them were doctors. It was not that far, like 30 kilometers roughly from that place. So I was.
How do you
used to them.
find them?
When I came on tourist visa, there are portals, search portals where you could actually apply, create your own profile and then search families, fix an appointment. You have lot of au pair Mädchen that come from East Europe.
Okay.
Which is very common in Germany, but like in 2007 there were few from Asia, but rarely from India. I mean, if I remember, I think was the first one to come. Like after I came, there were other two girls who then came in contact with me, and even they came and worked here as au pair Mädchen.
Okay, that's
Yes.
interesting. So
Yes.
this happened while you are studying here.
No,
No?
that came way later because I came here in 2007 as au pair Mädchen. I stayed here for a year. And in 2008, I started my master's. So,
But can you also start?
no, because you have
Ah,
different visas for it. For
okay.
au pair, you have that time they call it as long term visa and long stay visa. So I had a long stay visa, and but I started with my masters immediately after completing my au pair
Minimum how
tenure.
many years must an au pair should be?
There is no kind of. There are sometimes who girls come only for 6 months. There are few who come for 1 year.
Okay, and
There
then they
are
can.
then they go back. Kind of.
Okay.
You come. It is kind of exchange program. You stay with the family for 1 year and then you leave. Then the family looks for another girl because
Okay.
they are also very keen to host. Girls from or even boys. Even boys come from
Okay.
different corners of world, and it is a nice concept. I find.
So after your period, did you go back to India and came
No,
back or?
fortunately, the immigration officer in Ludwigshafen was kind enough, and I requested them that I don't want to go back to India just to apply for a visa. Kindly issued a visa here itself, and they did an exception. They converted my visa, or they issued me a new visa for my master's for study purpose. Anyways, life was not that complicated. We did not have a blocked account as students have these days. So we had to show some minimum balance, etc. And the pocket money which I used to get from these families, these two families, I saved it throughout.
Okay.
I never had the chance or I never had the need to spend those things. Everything family spent for me. So that was just like for shopping, meant for shopping. So I saved everything and I showed that as a balance for my master's visa.
So were you so free to go outside and have your like pubs or to hang out with your
I
friends?
could have, but I tried not to because my final target was to do my master's,
Okay.
and I knew that some fine day I have to get my own laptop. I have to pay the rent. I have to pay the deposit, and I knew I couldn't afford to go to pubs and do all these things. So till I joined my masters, till I had that financial stability, I never spent money on any other things like those. So
Okay.
it was more focused on saving oriented things. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, interesting. So then that's how you got admission into the master's program.
That itself was like interesting story because in 2007 German universities offered courses mostly like 90% were offered only in German. So the medium of instruction was German, and there were like few private universities like SRH who had in Heidelberg, for example, who had started offering English courses, but in IT area. I'm not an IT person. As I mentioned, I did my BCom, and then I had to see what all fields were open to me, and I always wanted to go something doing international relations, international management. So, in order to do your master's or let's say bachelor's in German, you have to have language qualification called as test staff. So there are also different bands in it. Like we have IELTS and TOEFL. So we had test staff band 4, which I had to pass.
Okay.
So thanks to my host parents and few of my German friends, they really helped me a lot. They used to literally sit with me and correct my essays and my letters and used to explain me the grammar behind it because I had decided not to learn, not to do any German language course. Instead, learn at home and pass the exam.
But I think you already did some
I
courses.
did till C1, but it is not good enough to get admission. You
Oh,
have to
okay.
pass that test staff exam.
Okay.
So when I came, when I was working as au pair, I was working on two different lines. First, completing my BCom, and at the same time, I was learning for test staff. So I completed my bachelor's, and then after completing my bachelor's, I applied for master's, and then they asked me that degree will not get recognized, bachelor, because it was 3 years degree.
Yeah, something there used to be like equivalent certificate that
Exactly.
they used to send out certificates to Bonn and something like that,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
So my university said that you have to, we cannot recognize your degree. Most of them rejected because it was 3 years program. But there was only one university who said that you come, you have to write an exam for us, entry exam. If you pass that, you have to participate in group discussion. If you pass that, you'll have a viva. If
Okay.
you pass all three, then we will recognize you and we will make an exception and we can admit you to the master's course, even though your bachelor is 3 years and not 4 years.
Okay. Okay.
So I crossed those hurdles and then I got admitted. I completed my test staff too. And then I started in 2008 with my master's in international management, and the medium of instruction was completely German.
And where is that?
That was in Fachhochschule of Worms.
Okay, so that was the master's course
Yes.
in international
In
management.
international management. But as I said, like everything was taught in German.
Okay.
So the first semester, I didn't pass in a single subject. I
Oh.
thoroughly failed, and then thinking.
But you already had this till C1, right? Is it
But that's
not
not good
enough?
enough. No, that's not good enough because we had subjects like economics, or European laws, and those terminologies like Binnenmarkt or the specific words terminologies which were not familiar.
Okay.
So I had to do the footwork first, like in English, and then everything in German. So that took me, a few months kind of thing. So the first semester I failed in all subjects. And then I sat with one of my friends who did his bachelor's here. He's from Nepal. So he explained me like, what you do is first you don't register for all exams. You have that liberty. I was
Okay.
not aware of everything. Nobody informed me because in India you actually get everything dictated like this. These are the terms and this is what you can do. Here nobody tells you. You have to do everything by yourself, and that was something new for me. And so from second semester onwards, I decided that I'm going to take more time for my master's. It's not going to be completed in 2 or 2.5 years. It's fine because it is an exception, and just be ready to put more efforts. So that's what I did, and I completed my master's. It took me a bit longer, but
But during the masters, what about your income?
yeah. So 2008. First of all, I had some savings, so I was surviving basically the first 6 months on it because it was like I wanted to focus only on masters the first 6 months, and I did that, and still I failed, in all subjects. So by end of first semester, I was completely frustrated because I had failed in all exams. I ran out of money, and then I said, these things are not going to work like this. I have to get a job. Then we had this Lehman Brothers crisis in that time frame in 2009,
2008.
2008-9,
Okay.
that time frame, and when Germany was very badly affected. So I don't know how, but surprisingly, I got an internship with SAP in that time frame.
Some of my friends said we didn't feel anything here, like the effect of 2008.
No, it was so bad that almost all of our friends had to go back to India. It was that bad.
Like your student friends.
Not just students. It had like most of them had completed their masters, had started working with companies, were in the probation period, got
Okay.
fired.
Okay.
There were few who got contracts signed, but then they terminated the contract before joining the company.
Okay.
There were others who were on job seeker visas. Like 12 months we used to have back then. Now it's like 18 months. But after you complete your master's, they were on that 12 months where you have to pay your own stuff and you don't get any student benefits, right? So they were also very much struggling. So almost all of them, like 99% people left
Oh my God.
back to India. And that was also one of those times where you find it difficult. Like you see everyone leaving, you don't have your own finances anymore, you haven't passed all the exams which you put the target. So that was one of the low moments or points in my life. But I cracked the jackpot. So in 2009 I joined SAP, and that was like as an intern. and
But
that helped me.
do you know SAP how to?
No, it was SAP company, but I was working in controlling
All
department,
right,
like
all right.
a non-technical department. So, started in a controlling department, GSS controlling. I started internship. It was difficult because I used to live in Mannheim, and SAP is roughly 30 kilometers towards south of Mannheim. So I used to travel towards south for job, and roughly 30 kilometers to north of Mannheim is Worms. So I decided to stay in between so that I can do both at a time.
Okay.
So I used to make sure that I used to go 3 days a week to university to Worms, the rest 2-3 days to SAP, and it was a difficult process first to get used to it. Like in general, painful procedure, because before that I had my bike in India and I used to ride everywhere in half an hour, 1 hour max. And here you have to travel by train. Weather, in general, it was difficult, and it was exactly during October period, like when it start getting cold and dull and dark. But that was a good thing. Like, once I got into SAP, I never left SAP for 3 years. I managed to change positions within SAP. I got working student, then again another working student somewhere in other departments. And finally, I wrote my master thesis
So your
in
German
SAP.
skills helped in that, right?
Yes, of course. The work itself did not need German, to be very honest, because everything was more or less international. But of course, it plays a big role, because if you sit with German colleagues, they don't switch to English just for an intern or working student, right? They expect you to learn German. So that was like pretty much helpful over there from integration point of view, or taking responsibilities. For example, I used to be very active, so I took parts in voluntary programs that SAP run, like renovating some, places where they need help. You go and do voluntary jobs like that. Also, I did. It was nice. I mean, I could develop myself a lot, not just from point of view of career, but also like personality wise also. Yeah.
So these days, I'm hearing about people are coming as a student colleague after their plus two in India. But what do you think? Which is easiest way for at that stage, or after finishing their bachelor's, coming here for masters? Hi. The motto of this channel, Wisdom Vibes, especially the podcast part, is not only to bring extraordinary people and expose their achievements, but also to expose the extraordinary qualities in ordinary people. Because we believe that podcasts are the best way to instantly pass the information from the previous generation to the upcoming generation. To become successful in our mission to reach our podcasts to many people around the world, we need your subscription. So please subscribe and share the values by sharing the videos. Thank you very much.
It depends. Let's say if you want to pursue your education in German, like as I did in the medium of instruction, then I would always say to start early, like do your Studienkolleg and do bachelor's here. But nowadays, anyways, German universities are offering almost all courses in English. So why to put that effort? I mean, you can be there with your parents, do your bachelor's, and improve your German language skills by living in India with your parents.
Which is not possible, right?
No, but you are at your comfort, I mean, if you
Yes.
come here and you have to do everything at a time, like you have to learn German, you have to do house chores, you have to
Oh, yeah.
get your groceries, you have to manage your finances, and you have to still perform. You have your commitments at work. It's a circus, and then I don't think one is that fit to start at the age of 18 or 19, like
Okay.
the person is not matured enough, I think. So the best is to stay with your parents as long as you can, and then spend more time with your parents.
Got it.
You are at your comfort. You can learn your language and then come for masters, I think. Even I would rather say with a work experience, like bachelor's plus 1 or 2 years of work experience is anytime helpful.
So then you finished your masters
Yes.
and still was continuing with SAP.
No, I wrote my master thesis Then I got married and we moved to Munich. So I decided to take a break of 1 year because I had like pretty hectic life for 5 years. I was just running like anything, and I decided to take a break. I was like, I'm going to take a break for 1 year and just enjoy spend some time with my husband, and cook nice meals and relax, sit back.
Yeah.
I love to paint, do paintings, all those things. So I took time for myself because I find that money is important, but how far you have to go and push yourself, you also have to set some boundaries. And I did do that in the 4 years. So my husband was also cooperative. He said, like, it's your call. If you want to stay back, you stay back. If you want, whenever you want to resume, you resume.
Good.
So I took 1 year break, and then I started applying in Munich, and I started getting rejections stating you are overqualified for the job.
For which kind of jobs?
It was mostly in controlling or employee survey, HR controlling in that field. So the experience which I had from SCB, on that basis I was applying. But somehow I used to get like rejections.
But actually, here in Germany, for every kind of job, there is kind of Ausbildung, training courses,
Yes.
right? So, did you do something like that?
No.
Ausbildungs?
No, but I had to go back one step. So when I came to Munich, after 1 year, I started with the company as an intern. Literally, I started again with internships. And then from intern, I suddenly went to an external, like a freelancer thing, like that big jump. I didn't work as an employee over there. I simply switched to external working through ex parte, like that, with the same company. So it was a little weird for everybody that till date I was intern and suddenly I'm like a freelancer now, but
For the same company?
for the same company. It's just that the department and role changed.
Okay.
Then I got into the project management for IT outsourcing projects. Again, here.
This is after you got a lot of rejections in Munich.
Yes. After 1 year rejection, I started working as an intern. So I worked there as an intern first for a few months, and then I got a job over there, worked there for a few years, and then moved to Göttingen. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about while you were a student, a master student, how you used to hang out with friends and how used to be life in Germany as a student.
Life in
Maybe
Germany
compared to now.
Oh, it was very nice. Everybody finds their own, phase nice. Of course, students who are doing right now their masters, they would say ours is the best. But I find ours was the best because first, we did not have internet everywhere. So quality time spending was like, it used to happen easily. Hang out with friends without internet.
Okay, let's compare with India. So India, when we study bachelors or masters, we have a kind of a rapport with all the classmates.
Yeah.
We hang out, we go out, we also like do a lot of stuff. How is that compared to here? Did you miss anything?
Yes, I would say so. I mean, it's difficult to say so because in my masters we had only 5 people who were non-Germans and the rest were Germans, and I was the only Indian in that whole university. Let's say after 3rd semester, then I found few friends, few Germans, few non-Germans. Hanging out with them was nice. So by then I had some financial stability. So I used to go to pub with them or to salsa evening somewhere, or just meet for coffee in the afternoon, or we used to go together to library, sit there and learn together over there. So yeah, it was nice. Life was little, calm, and it was not that high pace as it is right now. Like you have WhatsApp, you have this and you have that commitment, and suddenly you get pressurized when professor sends you email. Yeah. Nothing like that. You had your time, you had your pace. It was nice. And the Indian community was also not that big back then, so it used to feel like whenever you saw any Indian on street, it used to give like immense joy. Oh, there's an Indian, and people used to come and talk. Nowadays you see like every nook and corner you see Indians, and people don't even smile at you. I feel bad. So I made a lot of friends just by meeting, like Indian friends, just by meeting them at the station, talking to them, and then come over for lunch and dinner. And
Yeah.
we are now very good friends, like very good circle.
Mm.
And internet was there, but with the LAN cable, no smartphones. So if you have to travel, you have to note down all the connections and all. It was nice. I mean, it was difficult though, but you never felt it like difficult. It was
Yes.
challenging. It was new compared to what it was in India before. And when you are in that age group, like in your 90s or early 20s, you are so flexible. You adapt, adjust to things easily. You see everything as challenge and you want to master everything. So it never felt like difficult.
What about food?
Oh yeah. Food, yeah. I mean, 3 years I only ate Indian vegetables when I was in India. Here I never got. It was just the basic same stuff which you get here. And forget about going to Indian stores to buy some masalas or anything. It was so costly. Like chai masala I bought once only for €2 or something back then, and I was like,
Indian stores were
Indian store.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
in Mannheim there was one, but it was super costly, and I said like, I'm never going to go to Indian store. I'll compromise my lifestyle for that. And we used to eat just rice, and we used to cook whatever vegetables we had. Mostly we used to buy frozen vegetables because that used to be super fast. Cook for 2 days, put it in the fridge so that you don't have to cook every now and then. But it was nice because I never learned cooking as such before I came to Germany. It was everything happened here, and we did not have any YouTube channels. Only rarely
Yeah.
one or two channels we had where we could see the recipes and do something. So it was nice. So we used to see the recipe in your. We lived in hostel with a common kitchen and common
Yeah.
bathroom,
Yeah.
etc. So see the recipe, note down everything in your room, and then go to the kitchen and then prepare. You couldn't pause and see the recipe while cooking.
Okay.
It was different, but it was nice.
Super. So after your masters, you landed on a job as an intern, and then you eventually became external.
Yes.
How did it happen? Can somebody do that? Like, so for example, as an intern, you were
Yes.
serving
Yes.
for something.
Yes.
At the same service, you came out and then doing that, right?
Yes, it is possible because it was within IT, it was a different department. And my qualifications did match. And I was partially working with the same team as an intern. So they desperately wanted me to have on board. But this company wasn't performing well and they had hire freeze going on. So they couldn't hire me directly. So what the alternate option was to hire me through a third party, and that's how I got into the freelancing. Then I approached the same company, same nothing changed, but I used to get through different company.
Okay, this is how you became self-standing, self-employed.
No, not as such. It was Selbstständigkeit, like independent working, freelancing started way later because this was managed by a third party completely. So it was kind of a salaried status, like employee status, but I wasn't employed with this company. It was through third party. Like we have
Okay.
Nash, Harvey Nash, and
Got
Hayes,
it.
and all like that. I came, but it was termed as a freelancing activity. My job.
But how does this help that company?
Actually didn't. They paid more, but they were sure that they will not be able to hire me directly. So that was the only option they had to go for. So they spent more. They paid me more as they would have done by hiring me. But since the company knew that they were downsizing everything, they were outsourcing the project on which I was working was also about outsourcing it to different companies. So in that case, people were going to lose jobs, so they couldn't have hired me, right? So they had to approach me through other ways.
Okay.
Yeah. When you work here, when you are here as a student, we have this attitude in Asia in general that I have to go and I have to get a good job. Even during the masters, like I have to work as a working student or intern. I'm not going to get a grey collar job. I don't see it that way. I'm completely, against it because when I came, before I started working with SAP in 2009, I was working as a receptionist in a hotel. So I used to work there from 3 till 11, few days in a week. And we used to earn like on a 400 euro basis, which was good enough to meet my ends, you know. So 3 days I used to work, and the rest 2 or 3 days I used to go to university. It was nice. But then sometimes you have some challenges and you have to pay more, you know. Sometimes you have to switch apartments or anything, you need some more finances. So I was working somewhere else too. So I used to start like 6 in the morning. I used to go to apple fields, pluck apples over there for very less amount. You will not even believe, I would not reveal it, but it was like pocket money, I would say, you know, for a very less amount. But every single penny counts when you're a student, right? So I used to work from 6 in the morning till 2 o'clock. So we used to go and pluck apples, me and my friends. They used to do it till 4. I used to work till 2:30, and then from 2:30 I used to leave little early and go to the next job, which was hotel reception.
Okay.
And there from 3 till 11 I used to work there. So I did that for a couple of weeks. It was very difficult, but those are the experiences that make you, you know, and that counts a lot. And I always tell, if you always get a comfortable job, desk job, you're never going to learn those things, you're never going to get those challenges, you know. You have to stretch yourself, and those are the years, you know, the first few years of your life where you explore things and you get molded, you learn a lot of things. And that was the period, you know. And there were difficult days. For example, one instance I remember, I had just 50 euros in my bank account, and we had insurance, you know. I had to pay insurance of 65 euros per month as a student. And of course the difference of 15 euros, I didn't know it would get bounced, you know. So I asked my friends if they could lend me 15 euros, you know. So I took 15 euros and paid manually in my account, so that the amount which was expected to get deducted got deducted. Then I was at zero. The target was not to get in the dispo credit, that's the minus in your bank account. That's the only target I had back then. And then to avoid these scenarios, I took like double jobs.
Okay.
Like these, you know, plucking apples, doing this receptionist job.
Yeah.
And it was difficult. And it was not just me, it happened with almost all students, you know. And because we did not have this blocked account, that kind of keeps you running, you know.
Okay.
If you know you have this much of account in your balance in
You're
your
kind
account,
of little bit relaxed.
exactly. Kids are like, students nowadays, I see they are like little relaxed. And when Germans calculate your this 8,000 euros, they always see it as with a German style, that you would go to pub, you would go to a football match, where you would easily spend like around 200 euros per month on yourself, which is not the case. And I see when you come here as a student, there is no need, you know. You can, of course there is need, you would love to, but not necessarily you have to go and spend 200 euros per month on yourself, or 100 euros on something like that. It's not needed. You can survive like that for 6 months. You can go every alternate month if you want to watch a live football club, or go to Oktoberfest for that matter. I don't see that attitude in students who are coming now. They are more like, I don't want to compromise my personal life, my space. Everything rest can adjust accordingly, you know.
Maybe they have a backup of money.
Could be, I don't know, but that wasn't the case because we did not have this blocked account concept. They kept us
you running.
you know, like we
like
have
this.
to meet the end, so you have to keep on going. It was a struggle, but it was a good struggle, you know. It
And of
taught
course,
us a lot.
you learn a lot. I mean, kind of interpersonality skills or soft skills. You know,
Yes.
how to talk to people, or you know,
Indeed. Yeah, it gives a different, how do you say, like,
how many kinds of people will be there to deal with.
yeah,
You know,
true.
and eventually when you go to a company, or
Yes.
just you came here with a backup, and you just finish your studies, and then you just landed on a job.
Yes.
Even then, it's a platform for you to battle again,
Yes.
to understand. So
That's true. And life was not that easy. Like when you had appointments with visa officers, they used to treat you like very bad. Like, they used to speak in German, which is not even easy for a German to understand. That's called as Amtsdeutsch, like specific terms which could be simplified, but they are trained to talk like that. I mean, it's not their fault, but people used to have, like, couldn't sleep at night before when they had visa extension appointment. And the job which I'm doing now as a relocation consultant, I had been doing this on a voluntary basis because of my German language skill set. I used to accompany most of the people to their appointments. So if something happened, there should be a misunderstanding. So people used to take me, hey, you come with me, you stay with me. There's also kind of a moral support for that guy or girl, right? So they used to treat you like as if they are doing a favor by extending your visa. That was the attitude they had. Now the scenario is completely changed. Now they are in need of qualified people. So now they are like pretty much open nowadays. In Göttingen or in Kassel, these officers also speak English.
Yeah.
In 2007, 8, 9, forget it. That was never the case. And we also had this thing that because we did not have a blocked account, they used to tell us that show a minimum balance of, let's say, 3,000 euros or 4,000 euros in your bank account, like that. You used to get a list of required documents, and in that, enough bank balance. That's what they used to state. So what we used to do is, none of the students had this locked account or enough balances. So everyone used to transfer. That was everything run on trust, So let's say if I had a visa appointment, then people used to transfer their whatever they had to my account. And if you go to the a machine in Deutsche Bank, for example, you print the bank statement. The first 2 times they give you an overview of transaction. The third time, the machine doesn't print you the complete bank statement. It just prints the final balance. Hey, you have a final balance of so and so euros. So we used to print till we get that last statement, So we used to get that last statement that your account has 4,000. If you see the transactions, you will get to, one can easily understand that A, B, C, D person have transferred so and so euros so that you could extend your visa.
Okay.
But visa officer never took the overview of the transactions. What they were curious is, you have this balance. So you used to get the final statement, attach it, get the visa extend, and return the money who had lent you, and host a party. And that's how visa used to get extended.
Okay.
Till the government was smart enough and to figure out this thing, and then they started this blocked account concept.
Okay.
Yeah.
From your first job till you became a self-employed here, could you briefly explain your journey?
Yes. So I was working with this company in Munich, and then we moved to Göttingen due to personal reasons. And I didn't get any job in Göttingen. And my husband was already traveling a lot, being a consultant, and I didn't want to travel to Hanover or Kassel so that we just get to see each other over a weekend or just in the evening. That was not what I was aiming for. So when I moved, I applied few months and it didn't work out the way I wanted. So one day I was just sitting, what I can do, I don't want to sit idle at home. So me and my husband, we came into a discussion. He said, like, why don't you do this professionally? You've been doing this on a voluntary basis. This, in the sense, helping out people who are new in Germany, accompanying them to important appointments, or help them with their correspondences. Like, you get every now and then you get letters in German, and then help them translate everything, explain them. So I used to do this very often for all my friends.
Okay.
And then he said, like, why don't you do it professionally? You charge them from now onwards. I was like, that's a good idea. But because I had quit my job in Munich, I was seeking Arbeitslosengeld. That's, I don't know, like...
Job loss money.
Yeah, exactly. If you're jobless, you get paid through... Because I had paid insurances during my work, I was entitled to get 70% or 60 to 70% of my salary for the next 1 year. So for 6 months, I took this Arbeitslosengeld, and then I spoke to this lady from Arbeitsamt. That's the employment exchange office. And she said that if you have something in your mind, we can help you out. And I told her about this business proposal, and she said, like, well, let's do so. We will sponsor you with some courses that will train you to, start your business. And it's like, okay, there is one organization called BF in Göttingen. They kind of give all kinds of seminar for people who want to start their business, and that is called as Existenzgründung in German. So I took their seminar right from how to write your business plan till how to write your invoices, everything, like website, marketing, accounting. You think of it, all the topics they covered in different seminars.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a whole day seminar they used to offer once in a week. So I got it sponsored from Arbeitsamt. So I took part in all those seminars. And finally, I prepared my own business plan, how it would look like. Since Göttingen is famous for students, we have a lot of students. Initially, I had focus only on students. And I had a lot of other Indian students who were coming to Germany, not to Göttingen, but different places like Aachen, Bremerhaven, Mannheim, Heidelberg, Munich, Nuremberg. And I was already helping them with apartment search.
Okay.
You know how it is in India. Hey,
Yes.
you are already in Germany. Can you please help us find an apartment? I'm struggling. How to do it? So I was all actively supporting them, calling them, the Studentenwohnheim, like hostels, and making arrangements for them. So I was talking to this lady, I'm doing this. So she said, like, okay, then focus only on students, your whole business. And we did it. We created a business plan. It got reviewed through this organization who supported me, and they gave me a green signal. They said, like, this looks like a feasible plan, like plausible. And then I approached Arbeitsamt with everything. And then you get a funding from German government for 6 months first. That is called as Existenzgründung. And I applied for that. And since this topic was, of their interest, because they were expecting skilled labor and they wanted to have this integration process because of refugees who were coming in. That was something for them also relevant topic. They approved my funding for me, and then I got 6 months funding from them, with which I started.
For your own expenses? Living expenses?
Not living expenses, it is for the business.
Okay.
Yes, just purely for the business. So they paid my insurance, health insurance for 6 months, and then they also gave me extra money which I could invest into the business. And you don't have to repay that. It's completely yours, that money, 6 months, what you get. So I got that Existenzgründung. For that I got this money, funding from government, and it was a good experience. With that I could, have my own first initial network, meeting people. All those expenses I could cover through this thing. It was kind of an income for me without kind of working,
Okay.
The first 6 months I worked.
So you registered as a business person?
No, I registered as a freelancer.
Okay.
And there is a thin line how you differentiate your profession in taxation, from taxation point of view. Mine is not just consulting, it is also kind of a coaching, because I also give intercultural trainings to people who come to Germany. So if you are in a profession coaching or teaching, then you don't have to, then you can just simply state you are a freelancer. That's all. Kleinunternehmer, that's what they call. Freelance, freiberuflicher Kleinunternehmer. So I opted for that option first, with which you don't have to register your business, called the concept called Gewerbeamt.
What's the difference?
Gewerbeamt is you pay for the local where you have registered your business, for the local, municipality, you have to pay them, Gewerbe. And in freelancing,
taxes.
Yes, taxes. Being a freelancer, you don't have to. You have to as a freelancer, but in my case, it is. I have defined this whole thing not just as a consulting, but also as a coaching.
Okay.
Which gives me the liberty not to register as Gewerbe. That's what the tax consultant told me back then. So I have a different special status. Yeah, so with this, I registered as a freelancer, just freelancer, and then I started with guiding students first, but then I noticed that due to Corona restrictions, we had very less students coming in. In general, very few people were coming actually, even though the restrictions were, hold off, but still we had,
That's
very less
actually,
inflow.
okay. So when did you start this?
I started actually 2018.
Okay.
And 2019, end of 2019, the corona started.
Yeah.
Huh? But it was good. It was in my favor because when the restrictions were imposed during the corona period, I got my two kids in that time frame. But still, between those two pregnancies, I was pretty much active. Again, I was doing it on voluntary basis because I was not supposed to earn. I was on a parental leave in that time frame. 3-4 years I was in parental leave. But when you are in a business, you cannot be out of touch or out of your network. So I
Yeah.
was keeping myself active by approaching people, giving some sessions on voluntary basis. Like
So where did you get this motivation or energy to manage both?
yeah, it keeps you motivated. I mean, it keeps you running because there is this urge to work. When you had such a struggle pursuing your master's career, you don't want to sit idle, right?
So that is there.
Yes, that urge is always there, right? You want to be independent, you want to have your own income, you want to have that end of the day, that feeling that you did something, you delivered. You just didn't do cooking and house chores and kids. Apart from that, you have your own world built up where you serve and where you have your own terms and conditions. That is what matters, right? So that urge was always there, and as soon as my elder kid was 1 plus 1, I started doing this on voluntary basis slowly. With the second, in a year, I got conceived with the second one, and then again I was on a break for a couple of months. And now, like last year, I actively started again. Last year, Jan.
So that urge is not a burden,
No,
right? Actually, that helps you to maybe to cope up with your
yes,
this gap that you
yes,
have.
yes. When you are in a business, you have to be in touch with everything what you do. You cannot just say, okay, I take a break of 4 years and then I start. No, in my field, I have to keep myself updated with the current laws which are passed, especially with the citizenship, or let's say with the blue card. Every time there are some amendments, you have to keep yourself active
Yeah.
in connection with people in the same field, in the relocation industry. Take part into some discussions that you just keep your brain
Yes.
active,
Yes.
so that doesn't get rust. So that urge was always there, and this is something what I'm passionate about. So it's not something that I feel burdened about. I want to do it, I like to do it, I enjoy doing it. And the best part of it is you get to know people from different countries. It's such a wonderful profession, and it's
Yeah.
not tied to a desk where you sit 24 by 7, or let's say 8 hours a day. A few days you have to work from home, you have to sit at desk, prepare everything. There are a few days where you are on field, where you accompany clients to different appointments. It is a wonderful job, I think. And
Good.
the best part of it is that I can plan how much assignments I want to take. With that, I can balance my personal life. So I have this good work-life balance maintained. If I work like full time, then you have committed yourself your 8 hours a day to someone,
Yeah.
and you cannot compromise on that, right? Nowadays, it never stops with the 8 hours. It always goes to 9 hours sometimes. If you have your office mobile, like work
Yeah.
mobile, then certainly you have to also go out of the way and work. In this case, I like it because if I know there are few appointments, upcoming appointments, especially with kids, then I don't take assignments, or I plan my work accordingly, that I will be free and I'll be available for the kids.
Yeah. So can you give some message to new students, upcoming students? I mean, just not always looking for some jobs and they're constantly getting disappointments when they get rejections.
Yes.
They could also do something like this, right? Temporarily or side by side, register as I mean, make a business plan,
Yeah.
use their temporary skills to
Yes.
generate some money, Can they do that?
No, unfortunately not, because when you have your visa,
The visa is
student visa,
restricting.
yes,
Okay.
exactly, that doesn't allow you to work as a freelancer. For freelancer, you have to have a permit. You have to work a specific permit which allows you. For example, if you complete your masters and if you start working, even for the blue card holders, the first visa, the work permit, is restricted for that specific employer. You have that employer stated in your work permit that you're allowed to work with this employer only.
So why so? I don't know.
Yes, because they want to keep a track of it.
Okay.
Yes, and let's say if you decide to change the job within 1 or 2 years, you have to inform Ausländerbehörde, immigration office, that you're changing, and then you can change it. It's not a problem, but you have to inform them and get your blue card or visa changed accordingly.
Okay.
With students, you have those specific hours mentioned, like 180 hours, etc. You have that calculation, 120 hours, sorry. So they are allowed to work, take normal employment, kind of like a working student or 400 euro basis job, like for that specific hours, right?
Okay. But at least after finishing the masters, right?
Yes, you can. You actually have jobs also in this field. You don't have to be freelancer. You can work as a mobility consultant or relocation consultant, provided you have the qualification. The most important requirement for this profile is to have a driving license and your own car, which most of the students do not have, because you have
Okay.
to sometimes pick up your clients at the station or at the airport, take them to their accommodation, or take them, for example, part of the job is to provide orientation trip. In that case, you have to take them through the city. You have to drive them through the city. You have to show outskirts of the city. Families sometimes prefer to have a big house which is not in the city, which is outskirts, and it is not easy to commute, right? Then in that case, you have to have a car. So it's not so easy to get into it as a student. It's not just the side that you accompany someone to appointments. There is also a lot of work behind
Okay.
this
So,
thing.
yeah, the language or getting the driving license or
Exactly.
getting right permissions or visa, whatever.
Exactly.
These are the checkpoints.
Yes.
Okay.
Visa is like, work permit
Yeah.
is that most important thing for someone, because when you apply, let's say when I made contracts with agencies, they always ask me whether you are a German citizen, if not, whether you are a foreign citizen, if you have a work permit to do this job, because they will not apply for a work permit for you as a normal company does
Okay.
for a freelancer. So you have to get your own work permit for that, which is a tedious process, right?
Okay.
And it is not something you can easily do after completing your masters. Let's say if you're not finding a job, unless and until you prove that you have C2 level German language skill set, you have a driving license, with which you can challenge Ausländerbehörde, like, hey, I have the profile and I want to work this, please give me the work permit, and where they cannot really deny you, reject
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Yes.
So, tell me the advantages of being a self-employer.
I'm my own boss.
Okay.
No, advantages is like, as I said, you can plan your own work, how much you want to take, how much you don't want to take. That's the best part of it. Second thing is, when you work, you have your own style of work. You have to set your own processes. When you work with the company, they have their own standard process, and you have to learn those processes, right? Here you are the one who set those processes, and it makes it more easy, because you know everything thoroughly, and if something happens, you know how to deal with the problem.
Yeah.
You don't rely on someone else to take care of it. Like, you don't have to escalate anything to your boss, or vice versa. Nothing gets escalated. Even if it gets escalated, you are the owner. You are accountable for everything. Along with this freedom, of course, there are responsibilities that come along hand in hand. You cannot say always that this is the best part of it. But
You can also earn a lot of money if you want, or scale up your idea.
yes,
Yeah?
of course. It is like, at the beginning, of course, you can't charge more, but once you get experience, it is possible. I mean, I know someone who's been working in this field with some basic experience. She's a German. She started in I think 15-16 years back. And now she's so settled that her husband has quit job and joined her, and she has 6 like further employees who
Good.
work for her.
That's cool.
It is possible, yes, and I know a lot of people in Castle who have been doing this for multiple years, and they've been very successful. And now that they have eased the visa procedure and everything, we have lot of foreigners, foreign nationals coming to Germany. It has a big potential then also, yeah.
Good. And what are the challenges? Understanding tax system or something like that.
Challenges are like you don't have a standard scenario every time. We have difficulties. For example, apartment search. You cannot commit to anyone that we will find an apartment for you. We cannot commit to anybody that we will deliver you this service in this time frame. That's the challenging part of it. But you have to be productive,
But they expect, right?
They expect. But after they arrive, then, once they start with the apartment search, then they understand, okay. So it is both ways, those are few challenges of this job, like to convince the client that this is it and these are the problems and you have to compromise, and on the hand convince also the owner or landlord that even though this person comes from this background or let's say this religion, that is not going to affect your apartment or your piece of rent. You're going to get everything. So it's both ways we struggle, and people just see one side of it, that you just face client, but that's not the case. For example, another challenge is we cannot cancel appointments. We have to be present. Let's say we have visa appointment or city registration appointment. I have a commitment, and if something happens, I don't have a backup. So I have to be there. If you work with a company, you can either postpone that appointment, or you can tell your colleague to jump in at 11th hour, which is not the case. So I have to, when I have such appointments, I have to make sure that everything is really in place. That my husband would take care of kids, that kids are well served, that everything goes smooth.
Yes.
So that is one of the difficult thing in this job. There are a number of things. Sometimes we go to the visa appointments and people aren't well prepared, and then it is a struggle with the visa officer. He or she is very demanding, and I am just the mediator. I don't take the responsibility, right? But the third party gets nervous. Sometimes it gets escalated, especially people who come from Asian countries. Sometimes they see these visa officers like, oh, it's just their job, they should just give us the visa, that's all. That's their attitude. It's a vice versa. Visa officers are kind of have the upper hand here in this case. They don't see it that way. There are multiple scenarios which are never prepared for. It just happens, and it's learning by doing. Yeah.
All right. And bureaucracy wise,
Yes.
did you face any challenges to understand the German bureaucracy?
Yes. It's tedious. It's very tiring. Bureaucracy, German bureaucracy. At least in Göttingen and Kassel, they are very much digital, I must say. But the problem is, you have, for example, in Munich, you live in city Munich. You have a form A, let's say, with the personal information for visa or visa application form. Let's put it so. Same form, same questions, but the header is different. This is now outskirts of Munich, like Landkreis München, that's what they say. If you go with the same form to Landkreis München, they would reject it. They're like, no, you have to fill the same information, but in our form.
Okay.
So that makes it difficult, nothing is standardized in Germany, and every single person, every single officer interprets the law differently. If you go, let's say, for city registration, one person would not recognize your digital documents issued by your government, but the other person would accept it.
Okay.
Same, right? Next desk would accept it. Okay, for example, there are countries who they are completely paperless. Like all the documents, including birth certificates, are issued digitally. There are countries who issue everything in paper format. Germany is lacking really in this case because they do not accept digitally issued documents. They do not accept even though documents are in English. So you have to have a translated version for everything. So this whole process is so time consuming and such a bureaucratic part. And people who come for the first time, they are not prepared for this. Especially people from countries where everything is paperless find it like we are like 20 years back. This was something 20 years back in our country where we had to stand in a queue to get some document.
But this is an opportunity to you.
It is an opportunity, but it is sometimes very tiring because we don't deal with the single case, right?
Okay.
We have multiple cases at the same time. So imagine if you have someone from Brazil, someone from Chile, someone from US, someone from India, and someone from China. Every different country has different this thing. Like US is something usually Germans are like, oh, you're American, fine. Bingo, done. If you go with Chinese, they would treat like extra cautious. Like, who is he? Why is he coming? Do you have the translations, etc., etc. And that person, even the Chinese person, will not speak 100% English. That's another part. If you go to the Chile, it's someone from Chile, then there all the documents are issued digitally. You don't have paper. And then you have a struggle. They want to verify the documents with the Chilean authorities. It's like complicated. If someone from India is coming, then the documents are issued like partially in English and then their mother tongue. It could be Kannada, it could be Marathi, it could be Telugu, anything. For example, few of my certificates are issued like upwards. You have English and then right below you have in Marathi, like those kind of mix. Then you have to get it translated to German. We don't accept that. So imagine if you have 5-6 different cases at the same time with the bureaucracy. It's a part of my job, but it is very stressful sometimes. Because every country has a different set of rules applied to them, and we have to consider all these. Sometimes the visa officers or other officers are very cooperative, sometimes they are not.
Okay.
And 80% of the cases it goes well. There are 20% cases where we have problems and it takes time, and sometimes clients are impatient. I have all the documents, I have my job, I am paying taxes, and why they are causing this trouble to me? But it's a bureaucracy. You have to have that paperwork done.
Does your business has a website?
No.
Do you plan?
Yes, I do.
And do you also plan to expand your services? Or?
Yes.
But what do you think the potential of this kind of business?
Oh, there's a big potential because companies have been hiring a lot of skilled laborers outside Germany. It's cheap. You have like a threshold for blue card, for example. Most of them are in right now is the blue card visa. So for blue card, I think there's some 45,300 something is the salary which they expect, or 43,500. Don't get me the numbers. I need to check. But with which they get employees from outside Germany, and if they would hire some German, they would need to pay more, right? So the companies go for cheap labor, which is also skilled, and they are ready to pay these services to them. You come, we invest in you for first 6 months, we give you all assistance you need, but you come and join us. They save on that note, and they get the skilled labor at the same time, right? So, of course, this has a potential, and there are very big companies in Göttingen. We have n number of companies, big companies, who are hiring skilled laborers outside Germany a lot.
So you help them to...
Yes. So I get my clients not just directly from the companies, but there are also like relocation agencies who give the end-to-end services to these big companies for their employees who intend to come to Germany, right from their visa in India. Logistical move also, like sometimes company offer that you move along with your whole family, furniture, etc. So everything the relocation agency take cares, and then they approach us, local agents, if we could assist them. So it's kind of a consulting contract with them. So the first part they take care of, and the later part they assign to us. Like we are supposed to take care of post-arrival activities.
Great.
Yeah.
So you came here when you were so young, and then you actually experienced many stages till you were... you got married, you got kids, and in parallel to you build your career successful. So looking back, so what kind of message you give to the people who wants to come and pursue their careers in Germany?
I would always say be open to all scenarios. Never come with like stereotyped or with preconceptions. Be open to all scenarios. Come with open mind and you know, get ready for anything that comes in your way. Like it will not be a rosa pink life when you decide to come out. It's opposite what people think. People imagine in India that, oh, I'll have a Mercedes car and I'll have a big house and I'll have this. That's exactly opposite. You have to work hard, very hard.
Yes.
And especially for students, I would say to focus more on not just on the studies but also on the other activities, other, how do you say, other side of your personalities also. Like I said, be open for great collar jobs. You learn a lot. Make friends. Be open. Go to events. There are like career, you know, fairs, job fairs, etc. Go everywhere. Try, explore. It's not just about traveling to Europe and exploring Europe. It is exploring the culture of the Europe, not Europe. It's exploring people, you know, their language. Try to integrate as soon as possible. Never say that, oh, I'm going to stay here for 3 years and then leave. What you learn, even if you intend to stay here for 1 year, learn German.
Yes.
That's going to be there with you for your whole life. Let's say if you leave Germany, it's added point in your, it's an asset to your profile also that you know German, right?
Yes.
So never see it that way, that I don't see the need to. I have my own Indian community or my community and I'm happy with it. I don't see that. That's not the case. If you want to have a comfortable, smooth life, learn German, integrate as soon as possible in the German society. I know it's going to be difficult. It's a difficult process, but once you get hang of it, it's going to be easy. That's going to make your life be easy. Invite them. I mean, I've seen students in hostel, they invite Hausmeister, that's the handyman who comes and fixes things, you know, come, I've prepared samosas, you know, come. There were bus driver. I used to give samosas to bus driver, you know, in Mannheim. It's common and people like it, and that's a kind gesture, you know. People, then that's how you connect to people, you know. You have to give something of yours. Please never expect from others that they will do the same to you. Otherwise, you know, you'll get easily offended every now and then. To avoid that, just, you know, try your best, keep on trying. You will make your own friends network, and that is going to help you in future, even to build your future. Opportunities just don't come like that. Right. It's through networks. In general, your applications, everyone contributes to your success. So, you know, the more people you have in your network, it's going to be easy to get success, right?
That's a great message. So with that, I wish you all the best
Thank
for
you.
your future endeavors. And once again, thank you very much
Thank you
for
for
your
having
time.
me. Thank you for inviting. It was a nice experience.